Okay, we've also got now negative standard form that we have to be able to work with. Again, a higher tier topic. So this is an example of a number in standard form with a negative number, 1.4 times 10 to the minus 2. So what this will actually do is make a number smaller. So it actually represents a number that is very small. Well, how does it do that? Well, if you remember back to indicia and how negative indicia works, again from one of the earlier videos, we can see that 10 to the power of 2 is 10 times 10, giving us 100. But then remember that a negative power gives us a reciprocal. So 100 to the power of minus 1 would be 1 over 100. So 10 to the power of 2, we square it to get 100, and then we create the reciprocal because it's negative, so it's 1 over 100. So whenever we're multiplying something by 10 to the minus 2, we're actually dividing it by 100. If I was multiplying by 10 to the minus 1, I'm dividing it by 10. If I'm multiplying it by 10 to the minus 3, I'm dividing it by 1,000, and so on. So this times 10 to the minus 2, this negative standard form, is actually making the 1.4 smaller. So how do I convert from one form to another? Well, let's have a look. We got 1.4 times 10 to the minus 2. What I've done first of all is I've put a couple of zeros in at the start. You don't have to. They're invisible zeros that don't normally show up. And all we have to simply do to work out the actual original number in the non-standard form is move the decimal place the number of times it tells us up by here, the power up by here. So because the power was 2, we moved the decimal place twice, and there we have it, the actual original number, 0.014. So 1.4 times 10 to the minus 2 is the same as 0.014. Well, what if we have to go in the other direction? What if we have to convert a normal number, a non-standard form number, into standard form? So here we've got 0.00456. What do we do? Well, first of all, I put a decimal, I forget about all the zeros that are to the left, so that would be 456, and put a decimal point after the first number, because as we know with standard form, or I hope you know by now from the other videos, that we always have one number to the left of the decimal place. So this 0.00456 becomes 4.56, but obviously those two aren't the same. We need to put the standard form in, the times 10 and so on. So we look at the number. Now the 4 has had to move 3 places to become the number on the left side of the decimal place. It's moved once to here, twice to here, 3 times, and it's then on the left side of the decimal place. So that number 3 tells us how many times we have to multiply. We multiply by 10 to the 3, and remember it's not 10 to the 3, it's 10 to the minus 3, because it was a number that was to the right of the decimal place rather than to the left of it. So we forget about any zeros that are to the left and put a decimal place after the first digit. That's why 456 became 4.56, and then counted the number of places that you had to move the first number until it became the first number on the left of the decimal place, in this case 3, and simply put times 10 to the minus whatever number of places it is, in this case times 10 to the minus 3. And that's how we convert from negative form to standard form to normal form. Remember that all the other rules like multiplication and what have you follow exactly the same thing. So you just have to remember that one of the powers is negative. But provided you know how to multiply or divide with negative numbers, it's going to follow exactly the same rules.